All right, Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. All right, before I begin, just some quick announcements. If you are interested in a spiritual reading, I offer various different readings: telepathic, demonic readings, Egyptian oracle readings, Santa Muerte readings, shadow work readings, which, as I've said many times before, is a great reading to do because shadow work is continual, points you in the right direction, helps you uncover the shadow or the hidden self, and most importantly, points you in the right direction for ritual work to address things that you need to work on, as opposed to designing ritual work for your wants. And as I've said many times before, and will continue to say, ritual work should be designed first and foremost for your needs first before your wants. So it's always a great work. Always a great reading to do at any point in time. Deity readings to see what spirits, gods, goddesses, demons walk with you, not to worship them, but to strengthen your relationship with those spirits and demons so you can learn more about yourself and develop your path to self-mastery. All right. Maybe you're interested in the spiritual consultation. As I've said before, most people use the spiritual consultation as a free-for-all, a question and answer session with me. A lot of people come to those consultations with a list of questions written down, and they just want to ask a bunch of questions. Sometimes people want to focus on a specific thing. Maybe you got something going on in your life or a certain area of the path. Some people use it. They're newbies on the path, and they want to know where to start, how to set up altars. Well, I mean, you can use a consultation for anything you see fit. If you're interested in any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. And in that email, include your full weekly availability along with the time zone that you live in. And I will shoot you times and dates that work for both me and you. All right. If you want to sign up for classes, the way to sign up for classes is to go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, located at patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. That's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3, that's the tier you want to join. That's going to give you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, including the group ritual we do at the end of the month. And keep in mind, when you join, you don't just get access from the day you join moving forward. You get access to everything in the archive, which is 4+ years going back. You get access to all the class work, the ritual work, and how the live classes work. You get a private Zoom link. If you can attend live, you come in live. You can interact with me, other people in the room. But don't worry if you can't get there live. I know it's almost impossible, having members from all different time zones within the United States, overseas, Africa. So it's impossible to get everybody there at the same time. Everything is archived and recorded, and you can take the classes on your own time in accordance with your schedule. Everything is archived. If you go to my Patreon page and go to the collection section, you will see all the ongoing classes that constantly have new classes being added to them. Everything is labeled in chronological order. So when you join, you can go back and you can take the classes and set up your own schedule, your own time to do the classes. I have a bunch of different classes going on. Ancient Egyptian Vampiric class, Sith Dark Side Alchemy and Philosophy class, Luciferian Magic and Sorcery, Telepathic Sorcery class, Esoterical Occult Bible Study class, Shadow Work class, which we just had one yesterday, number 20, Kundalini Meditation and Awakening class, Left Hand Path, Norse Mythology and Runes class. Probably missing some, but there's a bunch of ongoing classes. Check it out, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, tier 3. That's the tier you want to join. And as I said before, for the amount of money that I'm charging a month, you're not going to get that anywhere else. I don't say that with arrogance, I say it with confidence. For the amount of content and material that I'm offering, for the price I'm offering, you won't find anybody else doing what I'm doing. And again, I say that with confidence, not arrogance. And the amount of stuff that I have archived right now will keep you busy for years. So if you're looking for classes and information and knowledge on how you can advance your path to self-mastery, the occult, the left-hand path, if it's something you have a desire, you really want to learn it, this is going to help you. Patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3. Don't forget to check out our social media pages. That's how you keep up to date on everything I'm doing, announcements, classes, events. Check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, one word. Facebook, 2 words, Primordial Chaos. I upload all the new YouTube content to the Facebook page. On TikTok, primordialchaos3.com on TikTok. That's the handle on TikTok. That's a way to keep up with all the latest happenings. Also, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, all the social media pages, and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All of those links and information is in the description box of this video that you're watching right now. All right. So kind of what I wanted to talk about and get into today. I did a video the other night, the video you see posted before this, activating the DMT molecule. And I want to clarify or kind of connect to a few things a bit that were in that video, right? There were some interesting questions that came up in that video. We were talking about being in a sound mind and a sound body. People need to be very aware in regards to that. I've done videos on that in the past. I don't like to do videos promoting fear, dangers, or over accentuating it, but it does exist, right? Now, the importance, again, as I've said many times, being in sound mind and sound body, is you don't want to open yourself up to spiritual energies that can create mental and emotional damage, right? That's what we need to understand. We were talking about things, for an example, like psychosis, if you have mental disorders, if you say you are on certain medications, you're being treated medically for mental health. I have to talk about these things in a way where I can present it factually, but not come off, because some people will spook it out or make it sound super dreary and scary. I'm trying to make it sound informative, push you in the right direction, because I get a lot of emails over the years, and believe it or not, there are people who study the occult, the left-hand path, but they are being treated for mental health issues, okay? So I would just exercise caution, because when we were talking about the activation of the DMT molecule in the video the other night, right, there was a part in that information where, in some of the research that Dr. Strassman did, that wrote the book that we were referring to, a lot of people who deal with psychosis or mental issues falsely, and again, I'm not a doctor, but falsely some doctors treat the DMT molecule as the root cause of it, and that's not always the case, okay? So when you're working with this type of spiritual path, the occult, the left-hand path, you are opening yourself up to energies that do activate that awareness through the DMT molecule, opening your psyche up. Because a lot of the work we do, when we're using methodology such as invoking deities, spirits, and demons, right? And we're using it on our magical path for our rituals, to attain certain goals and desires that we might have. Goals should be first, right? When we are working with this energy, as I've said many times before, you're exposing yourself to it, right? So there's no denying that. So I'm going to try to come at you with as much common sense, because, again, these are questions that come up a lot. I get emails about this on and off over the years, where people will email me, I'm dealing with mental health issues. Is it okay if I do this ritual or work with this deity? I can't tell you yes or no, because 1, I am not a doctor. 2, I don't know your full situation and your spectrum of things, right? So it's to email me or anybody that doesn't know your situation fully, they'd be doing you a disservice, giving you wrong advice, right? Now, obviously, what's the next step? What would be the procedure, right? You would have to really find, out if you can connect with, and I know that's hard for some people because where they're located, there's not a lot of people on this path. You would need some type of spiritual guide who can use the data that you have and what you're dealing with, in addition to what you're trying to accomplish, and come up with a plan or a system that's going to work for you. So depending on what you're dealing with, the severity of it, are you on any medications? How is that going to affect your ritual work? This, that, and the other, all plays factors in. So if you've ever emailed me in the past and asked me, should I do this or that? That's why I don't give you a yes or a no, because that would be the wrong thing to do. Now, being in a sound mind and sound body doesn't just apply, that methodology or that understanding doesn't just apply to people who are being treated, say, for mental illness or mental problems. It even applies to people who are in sound mind and sound body, doing things to maintain, doing maintenance to maintain that sound mind, sound body, whether that's meditations, spiritual cleansing, spiritual baths, chakra meditations, right? You must be doing all those things because, remember, depending on how much ritual work you do, the type of workload you take on, right, you have to be able to recharge and cleanse yourself, right? If you're somebody who does a lot of ritual work and intense ritual work, you better be doing things when it comes to grounding, cleansing, and charging, okay? So that just doesn't apply to people who are knowingly dealing with mental health issues and being treated. We just need to be aware of the do's, the don'ts, and the dangers on this path, right? Especially when you're talking about working a path of high levels of spirituality. When I say high levels of spirituality, the intensity level of the energy we deal with working with some of these demons and spirits can be quite intense, right? And the last thing we want to do is agitate or aggravate a condition or a situation you're dealing with even more. Now, I don't have all the answers because, again, I'm not a doctor. And anybody that doesn't know your full situation, if you're dealing with something like that, would be doing you a disservice trying to give you answers, and they don't really understand or have all the data or the information. Okay? So, I don't have all the answers. Right? You're gonna have to do things on your end and your part to figure some of those things out. Okay? The importance of understanding the full spectrum of the dangers, the do's, and the don'ts, being in sound mind and sound body, is very conducive and important to your spiritual path and how it develops and how you grow. Right? Now, there are many reasons why sometimes people struggle, don't get results. It could be for a multitude of reasons, right? It could be lack of focus. It could be their intent is not fueled correctly, or it's not in alignment with what they're trying to accomplish. It could be health issues there, right? It could be some type of blockages there, right? Shadow work will usually reveal and uncover all of those issues if you're doing it right. Okay? That's the purpose of shadow work, right? But in regards to, say, you're dealing with something mental, that most definitely and obviously could be one of the key reasons maybe why you're not getting results. Okay? Maybe why certain things are happening, and not happening. Okay? So it's important when we utilize that concept that you really need to know yourself when you're on this path, right? And there's that old Hermetic occult saying, know thyself and thou shalt know the gods. You can't know the gods, the demons, and the spirit world until you truly know every aspect of yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, the things you struggle with. Okay? That has to be in order first, in order to make that connection that you're trying to make with the spirit world. Now, the pineal gland and the activation of the DMT molecule and all the things we were talking about the other night, I think there was I think we had one or two people in the room, I think it was one person, was misinterpreting, like, I think the statement was, and I'm paraphrasing, that so it's dependent on the gods to connect with you based on a pineal gland. No, that's not what it's saying. But it's saying that as a strong vessel and tool and connecting point. Okay? So it is saying you could still connect, but the more you have an understanding of how it functions, the stronger it is activated, it's going to make your connection, your communication of receiving that consciousness even stronger. Okay? So I don't want nobody to misinterpret that. I think I addressed that, the other night. But the fact of the matter is, anybody that deals with spirituality and has an understanding of the chakras and scientifically what the pineal gland is inside the brain, right? Everybody knows the important function, that it serves, okay? And I think that's obvious across the board in a lot of spiritual systems of awareness, excuse me, and awakening. And being able to have this knowledge, understanding, and awareness, coupled with the fact if you're consistent in your magical work, and you must be consistent, right? I can say that a billion times. You have to be consistent at what you do. So nobody can complain about this, that, or the other is not happening. I'm not getting results. And there's no pattern of consistency in any of your work that you're doing on this path. Well, that's your reason. That's why you don't get no results. And really that applies to life across the board. If you're not consistent at what you do in all phases of your life, you're not going to get any results, people. You're not going to become good at anything you do in life. I don't care if that's a career. I don't care if that's playing a certain sport, whatever it might be. You're not going to be good. Okay? So the awareness, the do's and don'ts, and I guess you can say the word dangers, but I don't want to say that in a spooky light, but there is things you need to be aware of. The do's, the don'ts, and the dangers of the left-hand path and the occult do exist. How do you protect yourself? Let's finish up with this. How do you protect yourself, from opening yourself up to being susceptible to these things? Well, just like anything in life, number one, nothing is 100% foolproof. It doesn't exist. That's just life in general. But when you do the best to your ability to be consistent in your work, to do some of the things I was talking about a few minutes ago, your grounding, your cleansing, your meditations, all the things that you need to do to strengthen your mind, your body, and your spirit, that's the best actions you can take to protect yourself from any of those dangers you need to be cautious of. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated or over complex. I know sometimes people will look for these deep, heavy answers to some of their questions, and sometimes it's a very simple answer, and we just don't want to acknowledge. And as I've said before, I've noticed over the years, sometimes the foundational basics, a lot of people on this path lose sight of it. They just don't have it no more. And remember, foundational practices are something that you should never stop doing. I don't care how advanced you become on the path. I don't care how much knowledge you know, but the foundation is the foundation. And nothing can change that. So just make sure you're doing your due diligence. Make sure you're aware. And again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it or bullshit you. There's no 100% foolproof plan of attacking anything. So I'd be lying to you, and anybody that tells you do this and it's 100% guaranteed and foolproof that this, that, or the other won't happen, it's a bunch of bullshit. Okay? It's a bunch of bullshit. There's nothing in life that's 100% guaranteed or foolproof against anything. Okay? So that's it. Just do your due diligence. Do your work. Be consistent at what you do. Gather as much knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you can gather. Because the more wisdom, the more knowledge and wisdom you have, the stronger you're going to be on this path. Okay? Make sure you're addressing your needs first as opposed to your wants. Because sometimes people chase the wants and they open themselves up to bullshit. That creates more strife and problems. Okay? Your main goal for being here on the left-hand path, the occult, the path to self-mastery, is to be the best you can be in all facets of your life. That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. Because we want to be a master over our destiny, over our journey that we're taking spiritually. We want to be the navigators of this journey, not let somebody else dictate to us what we should and should not be doing, and all of those things. Okay? Well, the only way a master or god or a goddess becomes such, they get off their ass and they do things for themselves and they make things happen. Right? They put the intent out there with the goal in mind of becoming the best they can be. And that's why I'm on this path. I've said that many times before. I'm not here for all the fucking, superficial glory, the rituals, and I'm so dark and dreary, and, this, that, and the other. Let's keep it real. We do have internet magicians, right? They're on the internet, looking the role, playing the part. It's just the day and time we live in. There's a lot of bullshit on the internet now. And no matter where you go, what platform, you're going to run into some bullshit. But just be smart enough to detect it and keep moving. Anyway, almost at my destination. Just wanted to touch on those few things. Piggyback a little bit off of the YouTube video / class the other night. And just talk about some of these things a little further. Just to give you a little more insight and be a bit more helpful on your path. All right? Other than that, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I appreciate you guys supporting all my platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Thanks for supporting the YouTube channel. Remember all the links and information to reach me, the social media pages, my contact email address to request readings or a consultation, the direct link to the podcast, as I said, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All that information is in the description box of this video that you're watching right now. All right, other than that, I appreciate you guys, and fertile blessings, and we'll talk soon.